What comes to mind when you look at this photo?
It's a great memory, and he's an amazing man. He's very lucky to have survived that ordeal. Two yachtsmen had capsized. They were competing in Vendée Globe around the world yacht race. The Air Force sent an Orion down to ascertain whether they were in trouble or not. Thierry Dubois, the Frenchman, was the first one found, and he was okay, and they dropped a life raft for him. But when they flew over Bullymore's yacht, it was upturned and no sign of Bullymore. I got a phone call to say that the Navy was sending a ship from Carden Island. The HMAS Adelaide was a frigate. It had two helicopter hangars on the rear deck. It was captained by Hayden Gates. The West was sending a journalist and a photographer, and it was me that was going. We were told that the conditions down there were pretty rough and expect anything up to 15 metre seas. Half the media were walking around with black plastic bags and bouncing off the corridors. They weren't doing too well. They used the Seahawk helicopters to go and get Dubois. The chopper took off, disappeared in probably half an hour or something like that, was gone for, then came back, landed. He gets out. We photograph him coming off. The biggest focus as far as the media was concerned was probably more Bullymore. I was out on deck photographing through the gloom the yacht, and we just started slowly circling it. There was no sign of life. The Zodiac crew, I powered over to it. Their plan of attack was to try and bash through the hull with an axe. Bullymore was inside and heard it, and at first he thought it was just the rigging. He didn't want to go in the water because it was so cold, but the banging became very rhythmic. He jumped down into the water, dived down, and I just saw this little orange dot appear in the water towards the front of it. I thought, oh my God, it's him. He's alive. And we couldn't believe it. One of the first things I noticed, he had a shortened finger cut clean off. That's when he leant over and gave one of the sailors with a beard a big kiss. It was basically this little media scrum following him through the hallways of the ship to the sick bay. There was 3 photographers on board as part of the media crew. There was a bit of a race between all of us to get our films developed and get our pictures back. When I scanned them into the computer, I had to make them as small as I could, still with enough resolution to be printed on the tabloid. So they were small. They were like 150 kilobytes, which is very small, and still took half an hour to send. The difficulty there was you were dialing out through Inmarsat, and it's got a dial string a mile long, satellite access codes, country codes, wait for a tone to come back and put in a PIN number, and all of this had to be in the dial string that I was putting into the modem. So it probably took me 3 or 4 goes just to get the connection up, get it to dial through and connect successfully. And then it started sending and then dropping out. Right. So then it was change the dial string to connect at a lower and lower and lower speed until it connected and stayed connected. And I was dialing directly to a computer in the photographic department of the West. There was no internet involved, and it was just a direct dial call. By that stage, Perth office had an audience, and they were all just almost breathless of just watching this progress bar going through. The editor, Paul Murray, said that was one of the highlights of his career to me at one point. We know it's going to go front page, but we don't know what the usage is. We don't know what edition it's going to. I was pretty impressed that they actually held the paper for first edition for it. To this day, I don't think that would be repeated. I don't know if the Navy would allow a media contingent on board again like that. It really wasn't until we got back. We saw where it went and, just how big it was. It was run on every major paper around the world, I think. When we arrived back in Fremantle, the welcoming party that had been organised was just mind-blowing. It is just a sea of people. And it was time for the sailors to disembark. Channel 7 had done a deal with Bullymore for exclusivity, which captain, Hayden Gates, had actually said that it didn't stand until they were off the ship. So I thought it was quite cheeky when we were coming down the gangplank that Ross McLean, the 7 camo, had managed to get a 7 hat on his head. That was funny. It probably the biggest highlight of my career. I'd always had a technical bent in my background, and that photo really was a result of that, having technical ability. I was quite proud. In fact, I have that in a frame and I'll hang it on the wall at home. When he passed away in 2018, it was it was a bit sad. He was a real character. It certainly managed to live a natural life and not be taken by the sea in the end.